And the Indians win it by a final score of 8-2. It's a cool fall evening in downtown Cleveland, Ohio, as the Indians and the Twins put the Raps on a long day of baseball. It's Game 2 in our day-night doubleheader. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Indians won this afternoon in blowout fashion, 8-2 the final score. They won last night, so they look to stay on a roll here in Game 2 tonight, Game 3 of the series. Shelley Duncan has been swinging a pretty hot bat for the Tribe, and he drove in 3 runs this afternoon.
You know, Shelley Duncan has been very, very good for the Indians since August. I'll tell you, he's gone up. He's gotten some big hits. He drove in 2 runs, got him started early today, added another RBI on a sacrifice fly. And when you look at Shelley Duncan, I mean, when you look at an extra man, he's been the best guy off the bench for Manny Acta. You can see what he's done in the month of September. 21 games, 6 homers, 17 RBIs. He is certainly making a statement for next year.
No doubt about that. And as we look to our pitching matchup tonight, a couple of guys making a pitch for next year. For the Indians, it's Mitch Talbot. For the Twins, it's Scott Diamond. Our pitching matchup brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today.
Well, for Scott Diamond, 1-5 and a 481 earned run average. He did make a start against the Indians. It was a loss, 6 1/3 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs. For Mitch Talbot, the forgotten man, 2-6 this year, and his best game came out in Anaheim, where he went 8 innings and really pitched a gem. But since that game, it never seemed like he was the same person. The elbow flared up. He wasn't the same guy. Went down to the minor leagues. We're going to get another look at him here this evening.
Yeah, Talbot earlier this year was designated for assignment, cleared waivers, then went to Columbus. He's back on the roster because Shin-Soo Choo was moved to the 60-day disabled list. We're back with the starting lineups, the first pitch, and all the play-by-play action coming up next on Channel 3. And we welcome you back into Progressive Field for Game 2 of our day-night doubleheader between the Cleveland Indians and the Minnesota Twins. And a nice ceremony before tonight's ball game. As our good friend and colleague Mike Hegan announcing that he will retire at the end of the season as a broadcaster, and the team paying tribute to Mike before tonight's ball game. And nice video tribute. And then how about brand new set of golf clubs, new golf bag, and an opportunity for both he and his lovely wife Nancy to experience the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail.
Well, it's a nice deal and well-deserved, and 50 years in baseball for Mike Hegan and his family. So terrific person. We wish him all the best.
His grandchildren, Casey, Connor, Jack, and Bridget, all threw out a ceremonial first pitch to Sandy Alomar Jr. And I tell you what, they
were all good.
Threw strikes.
Yes, they did.
They all were pretty good-looking future ball players. I think this is Jack right here.
Jack from the stretch.
A little high, but that's all right.
He's upset with himself. It was ball 1. Look at it.
And Bridget.
Had a girl.
Got it up there, too. So, great ceremony, and we wish Mike Hegan the very best in his future endeavors, although he's going to still be with the ball club in an ambassador-type role going forward, but calling it quits as a career in the broadcasting booth after this year. Mitch Talbot finishing up his warm-up tosses. Here's Ron Gardenhire's starting lineup tonight for Minnesota. Ben Revere, Trevor Plouffe, and Michael Kadire. Chris Parmalee, Danny Valencia, and Renee Tassoni. Brian Dinkelman, Matt Tolbert, and Drew Butera.
Well, Mitch Talbot on the mound making the start for the Indians. It's been quite some time since Mitch has been on the hill here, making his 12th start. His record 2-6, a 6.33 ERA. Injured himself, ended up optioned back out to AAA. Spent the last part of the year down there. So he has one last chance to come up here and make a start in Cleveland. Let's take a look at the Indians defense, brought to you by Pat O'Brien Chevrolet, saluting the men and women defending our country and watching on the Armed Forces Network. Duncan, Carrera, Fukudomi in the outfield, Chisenhall, Cabrera, Phelps, Santana on the infield with Marson behind the plate.
Crew Chief Tim Welke calling the balls and strikes. Jim Reynolds at first, Alan Porter at second, Mark Lolo down at third. Pitch up high to Ben Revere to start the ball game. And that evens the count of 1-1. Fouled back out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Up and in. That'll even it up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hit on the ground to short as Drupal Cabrera throws him out, 1 down. Injury report brought to you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Trevor Crowe, as you may have seen earlier in Game 1, dove for a line drive and banged up that left shoulder and had to come out of the ball game. And he will not play in the remaining
4 games.
5 games, counting this one. One ball, 1 strike for Trevor Plouffe. He's gone 4 for 8 in the series, couple of doubles. Ruben Niebla, who was a pitching coach at AAA Columbus, said they worked on a couple of little minor mechanical adjustments with Mitch Talbot, one of which, though, when he's facing the right-handed hitters, when you try to throw that strike to the outside corner, a lot of times his ball would leak back over the middle of the plate, and he was getting hurt a lot of times with that pitch. So, again, without getting real technical and confusing everybody, they made some mechanical adjustments to try to keep his hand behind the baseball so that he could finish and, basically have more success with the location of where he's trying to throw the ball.
And Mitch Talbot is all about location. He has to locate to be successful, like a lot of guys that, aren't overpowering. It's all about locating, commanding the baseball.
That stroke down the left field line, and it's into the corner. Shelley Duncan digging it out, coming into third as Plouffe. He'll be held there. And after the walk, a ringing double by Kadire. And the Twins have runners second and third with 1 out.
Well, speaking of location.
I was just going to say.
Let's check it out on our Time Warner Cable pitch tracker. There it is. That ball is running in, but Kadire just brings the hands in. He's an excellent hitter and drives it down the left field line. Watch this ball just inside the line. Ball boy does a nice job to get that stool and get out of the way. Down into the corner. So they have second and third now with one out.
Now here's Chris Parmalee, who coming into today had been swinging a torrid bat, especially against the Indians. And then this afternoon he struck out 4 times.
Welcome
so it just
to
goes
the
to
big
show
leagues.
you. That's right. One day you can be on top of the world, and the next day you're in the dumpster.
Well, he's got an opportunity still on this same day to come back and have a better day than he had the first half. And they put him in a good situation, second and third. Now Talbot behind him, 2-0.
Right-handed hitting Danny Valencia on deck. And that's a strike just above the belt. 2-1. You know, the one thing that Ruben did mention to me, though, that I thought was interesting is that when you've got a guy in a situation like this for Mitch Talbot, there is no next start for him. This is his one shot to leave a lasting impression, you know, looking ahead to next year. And he said, I just hope he doesn't go out there and try to put so much pressure on himself that I've got to do great. I've got to pitch a great game here tonight.
Well, he's been here before. It shouldn't be like that. It's not like he's a rookie. He spent some time last year. He was here at the beginning of the year. His job, he knows that I have to go out there and prove to these guys I can still pitch at this level. I don't see him putting any pressure on himself like that.
3 balls and a strike. Runners second and third. 1 out here in the first. And he misses again for ball 4. So 2 walks in the inning, and the bases are loaded with 1 out.
Well, to me, it didn't look like he really wanted to throw Parmalee anything. Really, just pitching around him. First base was open, but now you've got to go at Valencia here. With bases loaded, no wiggle room now.
Valencia 2 for 4 this afternoon. And as you say, with the bases loaded now, he's looking for that double play ball to get out of the inning. And a first pitch strike. Hit in the air. Well, deep center. Back is Carrera. He'll make the catch. Tagging at third and coming home is Plouffe. The other runners hold. Minnesota takes a 1-0 lead. Valencia, his 71st run batted in on the year.
Well, he's looking for a pitch up in the strike zone to drive, and what's he get? He gets a breaking ball, a hanger. He's lucky that ball stayed in the ballpark. It just, he got enough of it to get the run home, but not where he wanted to locate that breaking ball, that's for sure.
Now Rene Tassoni chops it foul. Talbot's 0-1. Too low. And a 1-1. Hit on the ground to second. Phelps will throw him out. So the first half inning is over. Twins take a 1-0 lead. Indians coming to bat. Later rivals for the 7:05 game. Fireworks show after the ball game. What do we got? Star Wars.
Star Wars,
huh?
That's right. Chewbacca was running around here. Princess Leia. Saw Bart Swain around as well.
Saw some stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Was that Bart Swain or Chewbacca?
He was down there with it.
Kosuke Fukudome is Drupal Cabrera, Carlos Santana, Jim Thome, Shelley Duncan, Lonnie Chisenhall, Lou Marson, Cord Phelps getting the start, hitting 8th, and Ezekiel Carrera. Indians starting lineup brought to you by Progressive Insurance, proud to be the official auto insurance provider of the Cleveland Indians.
And Scott Diamond making his 7th start this year, 1-5 record, 33 2/3 innings. So the left-hander getting the start tonight. He did make one start against the Indians this year.
He's lost 3 straight to the White Sox, Tigers, and Yankees. He started against the Indians back on July 18th.
Right, his major league debut.
Didn't pitch all that badly. 6 1/3 for your debut. 3 earned runs and 7 hits.
Yeah, that's not too shabby as right.
Would appear that he's a quote-unquote pitch-to-contact guy. Not a lot of strikeouts, but as with a lot of Twins pitchers, doesn't appear to have a lot of walks. Although by Twin standards, 9 walks in 15 innings is a ton. High pop. Revere in center field. 1 away.
Well, let's take a look at that Home Depot Minnesota Twins defense tonight behind Scott Diamond. In the outfield, Dickelman is in left, Rivera in center, Tassani is in right. Valencia at third, Plouffe at short, Tolbert at second, Parmalee at first, Butera behind the plate. More savings, more doing. That's the power of Home Depot.
As Drupal Cabrera swings over the top of a breaking ball. And that curveball in for a strike. It's 0-2. Check to swing, and it's fouled off. Coming in from center field, Revere makes another catch, 2 away. Carlos Santana 1 for 4 with a home run in this series. The home run, of course, coming last night when he pinch hit and hit the first pitch he saw out of the park for a game-winning homer.
Well, you know, the strange thing of it was, I mean, we went all game, and rarely does he never play a game. So
yeah.
For him to walk up in the 9th inning, it didn't take him long, did it? It's almost like, hey, come on, I didn't play tonight, so let me do something here. I mean, if he's not catching, he's playing first base.
Yeah.
And at worst, he's DHing. Rarely have we seen his name not in the lineup this year.
Bounce to third. Valencia throws him out, and the Indians go 1-2-3. 1-0 Minnesota after 1. To you by McDonald's. The Mango Pineapple Real Fruit Smoothie has arrived. By your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. And by AT&T. Second inning here at Progressive Field. Bottom third of the Twins order due up. Brian Dinkelman, Matt Tolbert, and Drew Butera. Mitch Talbot misses low for ball one. Two and 0 the count. Dinkelman 1 for 4 in the series. Turns away. It's in there for a strike. Back out of play. Brian Dinkelman made his major league debut June the 4th when the Twins were in Kansas City to play the Royals. He went 1 for 3 in the game. But in a statistical rarity, he was also intentionally walked in that game. And he was the first player in the American League to be intentionally walked in his debut since Louis Lopez of the Blue Jays back in 2001.
Well, there's another name that you wouldn't think would be intentionally
I was
walked.
thinking,
Louis Lopez.
Just goes to show you, if the situation warrants, it doesn't matter who's at the plate. And now Dinkelman ropes one into the right field corner. He's on his way to second, and he'll go in standing with a leadoff double.
Both hits off the bats of the Minnesota Twins, Kadire and now Dinkelman, right down the lines. I mean, he gets his hands through the hitting area. And watch this. Boom. Inside.
Up.
Turned on it. Yeah, and upstairs again. Everything that we've seen has been upstairs.
Here is Matt Tolbert. And a switch hitter. Fouls it back out of play. Oh, he wants that one back again. That was a pitch he thought he could handle. But he couldn't square it up. Already pitch number 30 for Mitch Talbot. And that's crushed deep center. Carrera running into the gap to pull it down. Dinkelman will tag and go to third. And that's out number 1. There's our minor league report. It's brought to you courtesy of Kia. This is a guy the Indians had a lot of hopes for, Scott Barnes, and he was pitching well. He was moving along, and I think there was a chance we could have seen him at the big league level this year, but he suffered a knee injury. Nothing wrong with his arm. Arm's fine, and that's the good news. But the knee injury derailed his opportunity to get to the big leagues this year, so another guy to keep an eye on next season.
Well, you liked him in spring training last year.
Yeah. There's foul ball off the facing of the Tribe dugout. Yeah, he's one of those left-handers with a live arm. He can bring it. And, you know, there was some I think, some internal, not debate, but, you know, question. Is he a starter? Is he a reliever? Well, you know, and I think as the season wore on, I think more and more people were saying, I think he's a starter.
Yeah.
You know? John Farrell, the old farm director, used to say 21 outs. If you got a guy that can get you 21 outs, that's more valuable than just three out of the bullpen. Yeah. And so for right now, as it stands, he's a guy who probably projects us as a starting pitcher.
Well, it takes a while sometimes, especially young left-handers. You know, they don't know. You can tell from a right-hander, I think, quicker than you can a lefty.
That's hit pretty well, deep to left. Back is Duncan. Still going back, reaches up, can't pull it down. He slammed into the wall pretty hard. Scoring is Dinkelman. Butera on his way to third. And how do you like that? Drew Butera with a triple, driving in a run. It's 2-0 Minnesota. And for Butera, his first triple on the year.
Well, yeah, he's a catcher. And another pitch that down the line, that ball kept carrying. And Duncan got back there. He just couldn't get up high enough. Let's see. There's a pitch out in front. Changeup. Middle of the plate. It was down, though. And then Duncan gets back there, and you can see it goes off the wall. He had another step. If he could have gotten back there a little quicker, maybe get to that wall first. Couldn't do it. Once it goes off the wall, it comes back. It's going to be a triple. So a couple extra base hits in the inning. 2-0 Minnesota.
And the infield is in with one out for Ben Revere. Now the 1-1. Down and in. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Missed outside, 3 balls and a strike. And there's a base hit towards center field. That's going to bring home Butera. 3-0 Minnesota.
Well, the slasher, as I call Revere, because he just gets up there and he hacks and slashes. 3-1 count. You have to throw him a strike. You can't walk the guy. And he does that, and he gets a base hit up the middle. So right now, Mitch Talbot's struggling. It's a 4th hit given up. 3 extra base hits. That's the first single of the night. But when you're 3-1, the hitters eliminate doubt. They look for one pitch, and they get it. And not too often do they miss it.
Runner goes. Pitches outside. Throw down. Not in time. And a steal for Revere.
Well, the one thing about Revere, when you're catching, you have to make an accurate throw because he can run. And on good base stealers, you have to make a good throw if they get a jump. And he just outruns a baseball. You watch him. The jump is right there. Marson gets up. If the throw's to the second base side, he'd have a chance. But once it's to the shortstop side, no chance. Revere gets his 34th stolen base.
Three balls and a strike. Michael Kadire waits on deck.
Well, if Talbot keeps pitching this way, it'll be a short night for him.
Ground ball to short. Runner goes, and Cabrera's got an easy out. What a boneheaded base running mistake by Ben Revere. I mean, the ball was hit right in front of him.
Well,
and we've seen that happen a number of times. We just saw it was it last night?
It was, I think, game 1 of the series. It was. We played so many games, I can't remember. But, it's a play. They did it in the White Sox series. You just can't. You know this from Little League. People tell you that. If the ball is hit to your right, you're on second base, you stay there. If it's hit to your left, then you can go ahead. Now, this kid has speed, so there's no reason for him to get a jump.
Well, and I guess even though the rule is the rule, there are some times where I can say, okay, a hard hit ball, maybe it looks like you thought it was going to be in the hole. But that ball was right at where Cabrera was standing.
He can sit and explain it all he wants. You see who's listening over there? Nobody that has any uniforms on. That's who's listening.
Oh, yeah, that'll end the inning. Well, Talbot gets out of it, allowing just the 2. But Minnesota's on top 3-zip. Home half of the second, Jim Thome to lead off for the Tribe. Three for 4 with a double and a homer and an infield single in the series opener on Friday night. Ion 4 Powerade rankings. Jim Thome with an 8-game hitting streak now. Fouling it right back, 1-1. Two and 1 to count. With his 3 for 4 performance last night, Jimmy, as an Indian now, covering 64 at bats, is hit .297. High fly ball on the left. Dinkelman will make the catch for out number 1. Our great clip of the game. Let's go back to last night. The Indians paying tribute to Jim Thome, honoring him before the ball game, and then during the game, he honored the fans with another blast, a prodigious blow to deep center. Relax, you're at Great Clips. 604 career home runs. Shelley Duncan drove in 3 runs this afternoon in the Indians win. 2-out, 2-run double his first time up. Then he added a sacrifice fly.
Well, yeah, Manny's had to keep that bat in the lineup. He's been swinging it. He's been locked in actually since the beginning of August when he's been in that lineup.
Meanwhile, Scott Diamond, the Twins left-hander, 15 out of the 20 pitches he's thrown so far have been strikes.
That's the difference between the two pitchers so far. He's throwing strikes and he's throwing some quality strikes.
Curveball's popped to left. Dinkelman back just in front of the track. 2 down. Our trivia question tonight, brought to you by AT&T. 3 players in Indians history have had a 30-plus home run season at age 35 or older. Old man homer night. Answer coming up later in the game.
35 or older.
Lonnie Chisenhall 2 for 4 with a double so far in the series. Upstairs, 2 balls, no strikes. Now the 3-0. And he walked him on 4 straight. How do you like that? After we just talked about all the strikes he's thrown.
That's all it takes. Make a statement, and it'll change.
Put the whammy on him. Well, it comes with 2 out and brings up Lou Marson. It's funny, you know, it doesn't seem like there's ever a good time for a walk. You look at baseball and you say, oh, those leadoff walks kill you. And then sometimes it's the 2-out walks that end up starting a rally.
You know, anytime and you know what, walks are a part of the game like anything else. They're going to happen. But, you know, if you can minimize them, and especially with good teams that are patient hitting teams or teams that can hit, like your Red Sox, like your Rangers, the more walks you give a team like that can hit, it seems like they come back and haunt you.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel about this, but to me, and probably because there are more of them, but walks are more damaging than errors most of the time.
Yeah. Well, the pitcher you can't defense a walk. At least if you let them put it in play, you have a chance to catch the ball. And, you know, sometimes you get down to the bottom part of that lineup, and next thing you know, there's a walk. I don't know if there's a let up in concentration. I don't know. I mean, pitchers can tell you. But, I mean, it happens, and, you know, all of a sudden you just lose it, and then you have to get it back on. But when you're facing good lineups, you cannot lose concentration one bit.
We saw it last night with Justin Masterson. He struck out the number 8 hitter, I believe it was, on 3 pitches, and then walked the number 9 hitter on 4 pitches right after. Right? Sometimes you can't figure it out. The 1-2. Just missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I think Diamond wanted that one.
Well, it's a pretty good pitch in there. You know, when you go in there on a hitter, and it's one of the toughest pitches to get called is that inside pitch, to me that's a strike. If I'm a pitcher, I would want that pitch. I think it got a part of the corner, but Lou catches a break.
And he lifts the fly ball to left, caught by Dinkelman, and the inning is over. Through 2. It's the Twins 3, and the Indians nothing. game to see our Miller taste greatness moment. Now the Twins out to a 3-0 lead so far. Chris Parmalee, Danny Valencia, and Renee Tassoni will be due up for the Twins. Chris Parmalee drew a walk his first time up. Popped him up, foul ground. Here comes Chisenhall. One away. Well, let's check in right now with our Katie Witham.
Well, guys, I can't believe it. Tomorrow is the final home game of the season. There's going to be so much going on, so make sure you're here. It's KeyBank Kids Fun Day. The first 7,000 kids will receive a backpack. It's also Fan Appreciation Day. Lucky fans will receive autographed Tribe memorabilia, and afterwards, everyone can come down to the field to run the bases, courtesy of the Cleveland Clinic. If you don't have your tickets, get them now at Indians.com. Matt?
All right, thanks, Katie. Danny Valencia looks at a ball down low. Katie was, between games, she was up here in the booth and she was cleaning out her purse. It looked like she was moving. I didn't know you could put that much stuff in a purse.
That is not a purse. That's a suitcase. But, I mean, she's a woman that has to move around this ballpark, so,
That's right.
She needs a lot of things.
Hammered down the left field line, hooking, foul. Ooh. That would have been off the wall for extra bases, but it was just a couple of feet wide of the foul line. Hit that railing. We just had the railing hit on the bounce.
Well, if it was a little shorter and, well, it was just foul. What it was, it just went left of that foul pole, but wouldn't have been a home run.
2-1 to count on Valencia. And a base hit to center field. 5th hit of the night for Minnesota.
Well, Indians players and coaches will be at the gates tomorrow morning from 11:30 to noon. They want to say thank you and greet the fans entering the ballpark. It's also Kids Fun Day, so come on down early, enjoy the final home game of the season, and all fans can move it around the bases at the end of the ball game.
Renee Tassoni bounced to second his first time up. Takes a look at a ball down low. Well, earlier today, the New York Yankees bounced the Boston Red Sox 9-1. So if Tampa Bay could beat Toronto tonight, they'll be a game and a half behind the Red Sox in that wild card chase. Swung on and missed. Now Tampa Bay scored 2 in the top of the first. Toronto scored 2 in the top of the first. Tampa Bay in the bottom of the first came back and scored 2 to tie it.
Well, they're in a must-win, a lot like what the Cardinals had to go through today.
A little bit outside. Hit down the right field line. Long run for Fukudome. Can't get there. Into third is Danny Valencia. He'll be held there. Another double for Minnesota. That is now 4 extra base hits in the game. And we're only in the 3rd inning.
Well, yeah, they're doing some damage to him. And I mean, again, up in the strike zone. He is upstairs with everything. And they are going to work on Mitch Talbot. They get the ball in. It'll be second and third again. And again, the infield's going to have to come in and try and cut off a run at home plate. Well, they're on the phone, and you knew it wasn't going to take long.
High fly ball to right. Fukudome coming in. Tagging at third is Valencia. Fukudome with the catch. Valencia is not going to test him, and a good thing. That's a perfect throw. Now the runner at second came halfway down to third. They throw down. Cabrera now has the runner coming home, and Valencia will be tagged out. A double play the unconventional way as the Twins literally run themselves out of an inning. Minnesota still leads it 3-0, but a botched opportunity to take command of the game.
They know. Call your folks. They may not have phones. You are on TV.
Looking at their mom. Mom
saying,
on
shut
TV.
up and grab some chips. Now she's waving. They got the call.
Now they got it. Oh, great.
That's beautiful.
Cord Phelps leading off the bottom of the third for the Tribe. Down on the dirt. 2 balls and a strike. Now the 2-1. Bounced in the hole. Backhanded by Plouffe. Long throw. Not in time. Phelps just able to leg it out for an infield hit. Tell you what, though, terrific effort by Trevor Plouffe from deep in the hole. His throw was right on target.
You know what? It was on target. He just couldn't get enough steam on it. And, you know, that's how you get the infield hits. Made a terrific play going into the hole. You know, that's a la Derek Jeter, but he just couldn't get enough on the throw. You see how it died toward the end, and Parmalee over there at first base went out there to scoop it, made a nice scoop, and he beats it out. There it is. It's bang, bang. Good play, but it goes as an infield single. Cord Phelps, he needs that. Good for him.
Ezekiel Carrera, 0 for 7 in the series.
Whoa, that almost got Fukudome. I mean to tell you, he's lucky he didn't get it. He's going to stay over near the dugout now. That one went right by him. He was in the on-deck circle.
That's not a place normally you expect to see a foul ball.
Well, let me tell you, he never shows emotion. That's the most I've seen on his face all year. You see most hitters, where the on-deck circle is, you'll see them move closer into home plate because they want to get a look at where the pitcher's releasing the ball. And they do that. That's where he was over there trying to get a look, and Cabrera was so late on that pitch, he almost got him.
And the 0-2 line just over the head of Plouffe into left center field, and stopping at second base is Cord Phelps. So Ezekiel Carrera, who had been 0 for 7 in the series with a base hit just after Cord Phelps, who was 0 for 27, got an infield single.
That's a bad breaking ball there, 0-2. Up in the zone, but, as far as Carrera goes, he's just going to put the ball in play. He finds a way to try and put that bat on the ball and just gets over the glove of Plouffe and gets a base hit, 0-2 base hit.
So let's see if the 8 and 9 hitters can spark a rally for the Tribe. They're aboard. Fukudome steps in, and a big swing and a miss way out in front of the off-speed pitch. And a sky-high pop to center. That's not going to advance the runners. Well, we've got one out. Going to bring up his Dribble Cabrera. Oh for his last 6 at the plate. Down low. Actually 0 for his last 7. But still, pretty productive homestand overall. 9 runs batted in. He's hit 3 home runs. One and one. Interesting development in that Tampa Bay game. Their starter, Jeff Neiman, out after just 1 inning of work. He'd been bothered by a bad back, which is he was supposed to start on Thursday, which is why he was pushed back to Saturday, but I wonder if that's been the issue.
Very well could be.
They're tied at 2 in that ball game, Tampa and Toronto. Another lazy pop to center. And again, the runners have to hold 2 down.
When you get down to the end of the season, Matt, it's not just one team. It's almost every team. They're out of gas. But when you have something to go for it, you have guys pushing the limits, pushing the envelope as far as physically goes. And everybody's mentally drained. And that's what's going on with Tampa right now. So I'm sure that's why he came out. You look at the Boston Red Sox. You don't think they're scuffling right now? There's some people that are injured that wouldn't be in the lineup.
Yeah.
But they have to hold on.
They're not doing a very good job. In fact, it's not so much that Boston is holding on; it's that nobody else
can take it.
Can do it
right.
Yeah, right. And what keeps coming back to me, watching Tampa struggle the way they are because the opportunity's there for them to catch Boston, but they can't take advantage of it. Think back to 2005 when Tampa came in here and really threw a wrench into the Indians' plans. They played spoiler big time in that. Who was the guy? Seth McClung. He came in and just shut him down, dominated him like the second coming of Cy Young. I think he threw a 1 or a 2 hit or something.
Yes, he did. Shut him out.
It was unbelievable. And, the Indians were pressing. They wanted it so bad. They were trying too hard. And I just think all of a sudden, 5-6 years later, the roles are flipped now. Now I'm sure those Tampa players are squeezing the sawdust out of the bat.
Well, they have a tough time scoring anyway to begin with, so it even gets tougher when you're up there and you can't score.
Carlos Santana looks at a ball in the dirt. Santana, 27 home runs, 79 runs batted in. High pop left center.
Straight.
Revere again. He'll have the hat trick. and the inning is over. So it started with 2 hits, but it goes no further, and it's still 3-0 Minnesota. The Twins lead the Indians 3-0. And going to the 4th inning of play, it will be Matt Tolbert, Drew Butera, and Ben Revere. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you, and we're happy to be joined now by former Indians pitcher Chad O.J. Back in town this weekend, taking in all the festivities, and obviously here, most importantly, for last night's big celebration of Jim Thome and his wonderful career, and great to have him back in an Indians uniform. And great to see you back here as well.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
Good weekend, wasn't it? How about yesterday's the ceremony and what Jim Thome did?
Yeah, it kind of brought tears to my eyes a little bit. I mean, the guy is deserving of it, and he's just, he's one of those human beings that everybody loves. Playing with him was, I'll never forget that. I'll be able to tell my grandchildren that.
It is funny because anybody you talk to throughout baseball, no matter where we go and the teams he's played with, everybody reacts the same way to this guy. It doesn't change, and everybody says the same thing. He's just a great person.
Yeah, when you look at it last night, and I didn't even realize this, but in 2002 he was awarded the Clemente Award.
Right.
When you're awarded that throughout baseball, everybody knows what that is. It's humanitarian. He's just one of those guys who's an ambassador for the game.
Chad, I'll ask you a similar question I asked Paul Sorrento earlier, and that is, when you were playing with Jim back in those years, did you realize at the time he was going to be as good as he's turned out? Did you know he was going to be a potential Hall of Famer at that time?
You can never look at that and say, yeah, the guy's going to be a Hall of Famer, but he's going to be good. It really just depends on the consistency and the longevity, if he's going to stay healthy.
Yeah.
You look at that and you never know, but if the guy stays healthy, yes, he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, it is. It's tough to tell. You can play with, and there could be some guys out there that have terrific years.
Joe Charbonneau's a great example.
Yeah, but that's 1 year.
That's
I'm talking about 1 year. But I'm saying when you go out there for longevity, you can have 4 or 5 good years. And all of a sudden you fall off a little bit, or you have an injury and you just don't come back up. But 20 years, 15, 20 years, that's when you know there's a Hall of Famer around. He can continually put up numbers like that.
That kind of brings back the Albert Bell scenario. Here's a guy who had a great career, tremendous numbers, but his career kind of stalled out because of injury.
After he had the hip injury.
So where does that put him in terms of when you talk about a Hall of Fame and those types of things?
Well, that's where people start falling by the wayside, and they fall short.
Yeah, there is no second Hall of Fame.
No. Well, there is for us. It's the Hall of Shame. It's not the Hall of Fame. You know what? There's
first
the Hall
ballot,
of Fame.
First ballot Hall of Shame right there.
I'll be the president of that one.
We're not going to fantasy camp for our Hall of Fame. Is that what it is?
We're in our own Hall of Fame, in our own mind.
That's right.
And that's all you have to be if you're a Hall of Famer.
Exactly.
But, I mean, there's a Hall of Fame. You're right. There's no secondary. If you don't make it, it's no big deal. I mean, it's just a pleasure to play Major League Baseball. If you go along the way and play with some players that eventually get into the Hall of Fame, which we all do, it's an honor to play with them and see how they conducted themselves and watch how they went through their career.
Right. We were here with, Dave Winfield, Eddie Murray. Hershiser might have a chance to get in. Dennis Martinez. Wow.
Chisenhall gets the lead runner. Terrific diving stop.
Yeah, that was a big league play right there.
That guy's going to be good.
That was a big league play, folks. That ball was by him. He snagged it and got up and threw a seed to second base to get the lead runner. Nicely done. Lonnie Chisenhall taking a page out of the book of Jack Hanahan right there. Beautiful. Nice play.
Pitcher needs to go over there and tell him thank you.
Oh, he will.
Talking about longevity, I'm sure you would have loved to have played a lot longer, but you talk about injuries and fighting through those types of things. How difficult was it for you in your career? I know there were days where you could barely walk sometimes from the dugout down to the field.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You look at the injuries, and you have to be at the top of your game when you're playing here. You can't have a day where you're on, a day where you're off. You need to be consistent throughout the year. And if you've got injuries, and that's why I quit. I mean, I had to give it up because they told me that. The hitters told me that. You're not as good as you were 3-4 years ago because of the injuries. And that's the longevity we're talking about. It's very difficult to stay at the top of your game for that long.
Well, you were one of those guys, even when you were pitching well with your knees, you couldn't run a lot as a pitcher, right? You had to find other workouts in the trainer's room. I mean, not in the trainer's room, but in the workout room and on different equipment to keep your legs strong and healthy.
Right, I had to turn. Ooh.
That's smoked into center by Revere.
Yeah, I turned to swimming. I mean, that was one of the things I had to do to keep myself in shape. And that's you find ways to do that, but over time you compensate for the injury and you end up hurting something else.
Right. Oh boy, there's a face shuttle right there. He got out of the way. That ball was hit right on the nose.
Oof.
I'll tell you what, they are squaring the ball up off Mitch Talbot tonight.
Got to keep it out of the middle of the plate.
Yeah, and he's been upstairs a lot.
Yeah.
Well, he's got 2 on, 1 out. Trevor Plouffe, who walked and scored in the first, bounced into a fielder's choice in the second. And that actually was a key play to help get him out of that inning. Hits it that way again. Chisenhall to second for 1. On to first. A double play to end the inning. So the pitcher's best friend saves Mitch Talbot here in the 4th. We're coming back more with Chad O.J. when we return. It'll be Jim Thome, Shelley Duncan, and Lonnie Chisenhall to face Scott Diamond. Thome to lead things off, fly to left his first time up. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning, and we're joined this inning by Chad Ojay, former Indians pitcher. And for those of you who may have forgotten or just plain old unaware, 1997 postseason, magical. And it was interesting because it got off to a bit of an inauspicious start. Division series, you're in the bullpen for that round. You come out, first guy you face, Paul O'Neill, bases loaded.
Grand slam.
He hits a grand slam. I think he gave up one hit the rest of the game. He pitched almost 6 innings that night, shutout baseball against the Yankees. Did something happen in that start that helped get you on the roll, that carried you the rest of October?
Yeah, I think it started before that. In September, I started throwing the ball very well. Oral had really helped me out a lot, and we were talking about the playoffs. We were talking about different things.
Look at you. You can not only pitch, you can hit.
Hey, I was talking to somebody today. That turned into from a double to a home run now. You know that.
Yeah, that's okay. It'll be a grand slam in another 2 years.
There you go. I just keep saying, yeah, you're right. But no, that September, I threw the ball well. Oral had really, had mentored me quite a bit as far as going into the playoffs and just saying, the playoffs are just like the regular season. Don't change a thing. And that's what I took into it, and it worked.
Did he mean that more from a mental and emotional standpoint?
Yeah, it's more a mental and emotional standpoint, because a lot of guys get into the playoffs and they're over trying.
Sure.
They overswing a little
do.
bit. They try to throw a little bit harder. Well, just do what got you there. And that's the thing with this young team. They don't need to do anything. They're here. Just keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to be successful.
Well, see, that's where you need the veterans around to let you relax. And the guys that have been through the trenches and the wars. And little do people know, but your name was on that MVP trophy until the Marlins came back and won Game 7 in that World Series.
I think they buffed it off and re-engraved it.
They did. It was a quick buffer.
Does that ever eat at you or gnaw at you or keep you up at night thinking about, it was so close?
It doesn't necessarily keep me up at night, but there's definitely times I go back and look at it and just say, man, we were so close.
Yeah.
Especially when we start talking and I come visit here, and, it was heartbreaking. We had such a good team and such a good group of guys that it was just, it was tough. It was a tough loss.
Yeah.
Well, I saw you sitting over there with Mike Cargrove in the suite the other night, and tell these people how quickly time passes by. Because you look at it, and it's almost going to be 20 years, and the next thing you know, it goes by in such a hurry.
Yeah, it does.
You have to appreciate it.
You do. You have to appreciate it. And the toughest thing is, as a player, when you're there, you don't really realize it. And then you get out of the game, and then you start looking back and going, wow, that was really, really special.
Yeah, as a player, you think it's going to last forever.
Right.
You're bulletproof, man, when you're a player.
And I think it almost has to be that way, because if you guys as players, if you're in the moment, you start thinking about, wow, this was really great, or boy, yesterday was really great, you're not going to be around very long.
Right.
That is true.
Yeah, you do have to concentrate each and every day. You have to, the over the long haul of a season, you really have to focus in on that one thing. You can't think ahead. You can't think behind.
Lonnie Chisenhall follows up that great defensive play with a solid line drive single and keeps the inning alive with 2 down here in the 4th.
Now, there's a kid right there that's starting to relax up here at the major league level. He hasn't been out there every day, but he is starting to get it. He's getting a feel against left-handed pitching and staying in pretty well on breaking balls. I will tell you that.
Yeah, it seems like he's letting the ball get deep on him now.
Yeah, he is. He's relaxing, and he's getting a little confidence, because when you get a few hits, then you start getting some confidence and you start feeling good about yourself.
Lou Marson chops it to third, and that'll end the inning. Chad, great to catch up with you. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it as always.
Always nice to see you, big man.
Chad Ojay with us here tonight. Indians trail the Twins 3-0 as we go to the 5th. Panini's Franchise Group on Facebook for your chance to win giveaways and prizes. Fifth inning here at Progressive Field, and the Indians trail the Twins by a score of 3-0. Michael Kadire, Chris Parmalee, and Danny Valencia due up here from Minnesota.
Is that Halloween yet?
That's what I was thinking. Is that what he had, Rocky?
I don't know. I don't know. They have some great outfits. I don't know if he's. Oh, Star Wars.
He's
There's
an
the
Ewok.
lights. There you go.
Uh-huh.
Very nice.
Figured Pat Murray would be the one to know. Yeah. He pointed that right out. That doesn't count. He's not a Trekkie. What do you call a Star Wars fan?
A Pat Murrayite?
He's an Ewok. There you go. We're
You
done.
were right the first time.
That's going to go foul. And Kadire will come back to home plate. 1 for 2 with a double on the night. Kadire doubled in the first, popped up to second base in the second inning.
Well, the last 2 innings for the Twins have ended up in double plays. And, they've had a couple of base running mistakes. They've had opportunities to really open this game up. They haven't been able to do it.
Weekly tap to short as Dribble Cabrera makes a nice play there to retire the veteran. Let's go back to the Hyundai Studios for another in-game update. Here's Al Pulaski.
All right, Matt, Tampa once again 2 games behind the Red Sox in the wild card race tonight. Johnny Damon in the 2-1 game hits this one high, and look at that, falls between everyone, goes as a double, ties the game with Toronto at 2. Jeff Neiman, though, the starter for Tampa tonight, out after 38 pitches. Back to you.
Down low, ball 1. Chris Parmalee walked and fouled out. Back out of play. Rolled to first, just foul. Carlos Santana gobbling it up. You know, we were talking about Santana earlier. And, the obviously pinch hit game-winning homer last night. And you were talking about, here's a guy who's played almost every day. 152. This is game 152 for him out of 158. Now,
right.
There have been about 3 of those games where all he did was pinch hit, but still.
It doesn't matter.
You're
there, man. You're there.
Especially for a catcher.
Catcher, first baseman, DH, it doesn't matter. You don't know what it's like to play. When you're going into a catcher, if you catch 140 games, you're catching a ton. You'll probably catch more games than anybody in baseball if you catch 140.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's why this streak that Cal Ripken had is unfathomable. When you go up there for as many games as he played at the position he played, you just can't believe it. 162 is almost impossible. It's hard to play, man. You get beat up.
And remember, he's coming off a pretty serious knee injury from last year that required surgery.
The thing about him, it's just nice to have him out there, and you need players like that, boy. Guys that can go out. Cabrera's been the same way, coming off an injury, a broken arm. He comes back, has a career year. Both these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk one, you talk both of them. You got guys like Chisenhall that's going to be around. These guys, there's some good things going on here for the Cleveland Indians. It's just a matter of being patient and mature. Now, can they keep the bullpen together? Can they, you have an injury to Carrasco, and there's some things going on right now, but they got to piece it together because they have some very good things happening here.
The 2-2. Swung on and missed. Parmalee goes down. Well, and you've got to hope, too, Rick, that Shin-Soo Choo comes back next year and can stay healthy.
Well, 320 and 20. Why wouldn't he? You know, he's entitled. Everybody has an off year. He just had a bad time to have an off year.
But he's such an important piece in the middle of that lineup.
He's the veteran, one of your guys that goes out there and plays every day. Big question mark will be Grady Sizemore. Do they bring him back with his option? You know, I mean, Grady was the selling point of this team for a long time. But the last 3 years he's been injured, you know, and the way he looks now, it'll be a good question. Will they bring him back?
Squibbed off the end of the bat. And an easy 1-2-3 fifth inning for Mitch Talbot. First time to retire the Twins in order tonight. Cord Phelps, Ezekiel Carrera, Kosuke Fukudome for the Indians. These two tried to start a rally in the third inning. Phelps and Carrera both singled to start, but the Tribe could do nothing with it. They have just 3 hits on the night. High fly ball, left field. Dinkelman. 1 away. Our recap brought to you by your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. Danny Valencia with a sac fly in the first, made it 1-0. And then in the second, Drew Butera with a triple, made it 2-0. And then Ben Revere with an RBI single. 3-0 Minnesota. Find out about more than 30 Toyota offers available now at buyatoyota.com. Foul out of play. Fly ball, center field. Racing back Revere. He'll get there to run it down. 2 away. The STO Celebrity Par 3 Shootout returns tomorrow night at 10. Car Ron Harper Bruce Drennan and Tony Grossi will battle it out at Stonewater. That's tomorrow night at 10 following the Golf Zone with Jimmy Hanlon, only on STO. Kosuke Fukudome twice has flied out to center.
Oh boy, called timeout. He was getting into the box, but just wasn't quite set. And Diamond tried to start that delivery a little too quickly.
And it's inside for ball one.
This guy's probably throwing the ball better than any pitcher I've seen him, other than Pavano in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Carl threw the ball very well when we were up there. They made the adjustment to him in the first game here yesterday. But this guy's throwing the ball very well.
Fukudome's out looking, and the Indians go 1-2-3. First strikeout of the night for Diamond.
The holders are guaranteed the best seat locations and the best prices. Call 216-420-HITS. Find out more. Operators are standing by.
Rene Tassoni leads off the sixth inning. One for two with a double for the Twins right fielder. This scoreboard update brought to you by your Northern Ohio Ford dealers and the all-new 2012 Ford Focus. Ford, drive one. And Talbot with the 2-1. Left field, Duncan. One gone here in the sixth. Brian Dinkelman 1 for 2 with a double and a run scored. And this will be pitch number 90 for Mitch Talbot. But remember, the way this game started, We didn't know in the second inning if he'd be around much longer, but key play happened. Ground ball in front of the runner, Ben Revere, at short. He was thrown out at third to short circuit a potential bigger inning. They already had 2 runs in. And then in the third, it looked like they were about to blow it open again.
Yes, indeed.
And then another base running mistake resulting in an inning-ending double play. You got a ground ball conventional double play to get out of the fourth. Retiring the side in order in the fifth. Just now going to get some action in the Tribe bullpen. Corey Kluber will get up and get loose. He checked. Did he go? He did not, says third base umpire Mark Lolo. Good call.
Yeah, he didn't go. Did not go.
Out of play. It stays 2-2. Tampa Bay's gone in front of Toronto 3-2. They're in the fifth now down in St. Pete. As you said, that's really almost a must-win situation for the Rays.
It absolutely is.
Chance to shave an entire game off their deficit.
And Boston has a doubleheader tomorrow, so yeah, I mean, you have to win every game. That's the way you look at it.
Payoff pitch. Foul down the right side.
You know, it's like you go out there every day. You try and win every game, but you know, at times you don't. But there's no tomorrow is what happens when you start losing now.
Yeah, you're running out of time. 3-2. And he walks him with 1 out. This was the play back in the third inning.
Yeah, the guy on second base had his head down, and he runs the guy off of third base. I mean, you can't go anywhere unless that guy from third tags up. So he was running with his head down. He forced Valencia to go home, and it was a bad play all the way around. It wasn't deep enough to tag in the first place. I mean, you normally go back and at third base, you say, I'm going to make the guy at least make a throw. He makes a throw, and by the time it comes in, you stop. But that guy at second base forced him off third.
Well, the interesting thing is to have consecutive innings with bad base running plays. That's hard to believe.
Well, no, it's not. I mean, that's what they're doing. Yeah, we got the Hegan family in the booth.
This
Very
is baseball
nice to
royalty right here.
Yes, it is.
Nancy
you got
Hegan,
that right.
Well, Mike Hegan was honored before the ball game tonight, of course, as we mentioned earlier, and longtime television voice of the Tribe before going over to radio.
Right.
Worked with Jack Corrigan for years, and then also with you. Tonight, retiring as a broadcaster. Ground ball base hit into left field for Matt Tolbert. There is Mike.
Yeah.
Huh?
He's back over there now, and he will go to Detroit. He's going to make the trek to Detroit, do the last 3 games there, and as he says, you know what? When you're in baseball for 50 years, you know it is tough to just get up and leave. But you know he's 70 years old. He's still going. He's got some golf clubs now to go out there and play, and you have to spend some time with the family in the summertime. I mean, it's a long time.
Who gets Dad's old golf clubs?
Who's left-handed? That's what I want to know.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Who's left-handed? That's another thing you got to think of.
There's the grandkids.
Yeah, they're all waving. They know they're on TV.
Casey, Connor, Jack, and Bridget.
Well, we've got time. There's Mike, his wife Nancy to his right. Of course, Mr. Dolan and Mark Shapiro behind him. And they're looking up on the scoreboard as, look at Mike. Not easy, is it, pal?
No, No way.
Look at the TaylorMade bag
Got
with Mike
some
Hegan
nice
on there.
clubs.
Huh?
And Nancy has been through it all 50 years. I mean, or most of them, you know, when you think about it.
Well, not an easy thing to do. And that's, his kids are in our booth right now. And a good way to end your career the night after Jim Thome, you know, has a nice evening, and it was another good evening at the ballpark for the Hegan family. All the best.
Well, Sean and JJ spent a lot of time working the old batting cages when Dad ran the batting school back in Milwaukee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where Frank Caliendo's dad used to work.
That's right. He
you
told
know,
us
because
about
they're
that,
from Milwaukee.
yeah.
So the Caliendo's dad, right? Yeah.
Pitch a called strike to Drew Butera.
Well, it's funny because when I was traded to the Brewers, I played against Mike when he was with the Brewers over there. And then his last year was 77. Then he went into the broadcast booth. And then when I went over there in 83, he was doing the games on television. I got to know him then, you know, as well. And then he comes over here and starts broadcasting. And then I start broadcasting because I didn't know what I was going to do.
You're following him around.
I'm going to follow Mike around is right. But he's got me by about 10 years. So I'm not retiring for about another 20. I'm going to be stuck with you.
You know, other way around.
Well, you're
going to be
stuck with me. You got that right. Either that or I'll cash it. I'll let Al come up with you. You and Al.
2-1 pitch, a called strike to even it up.
Well, this is where Mitch Talbot has really got to dig deep and get an out here. I don't think you can afford to let him get any more on the board. They've got a 3-run lead. You're getting late.
The 2-2 in the dirt, full count. All right, big pitch for Mitch Talbot right here.
Yes, it is.
Could be his final pitch of the night. Runners go on the 3-2, and it's lined to right center, and it's in the gap. That's going to get home Dinkelman. On his heels comes Tolbert. How about that? A 2-run single with one out here in the 6th makes it 5-0 in favor of the Twins.
It's a 2-run single because they started the runners.
Yeah.
And Carrera did a nice job of cutting the ball off. He couldn't plant and throw, and that's why you send that back, the second runner, the guy that broke from first base. Watch, he's off and running on the play. So he's figuring, gap, let's go, I've got to score. He was right at second base when that ball hit the grass, and then you force him to come in. He couldn't get enough on the throw. By the time they get the relay in, they score 2 more runs, and you were right. That is the last pitch made by Mitch Talbot, and he's going to leave, giving up 5.
5 1/3 innings, 9 hits allowed by Talbot. He exits down 5-zip. Josh Judy is coming on when we come back. Manny Active making the call to the bullpen, brought to you by Verizon 4G LTE. Rule the air on the most advanced 4G network in the world. Here in inning number 6. And Josh Judy now into the ballgame for the Tribe.
Well, Buter is the guy that really did a lot of the damage against Mitch Talbot tonight. You go back to that second inning after they had one in the first. He was able to drive home the second run and also score the third, and then drives in 2 more here in the the 6th inning. In the second inning, he's going to get a changeup that was down middle of the plate, and he was able to get it over the head of Duncan. And it deflects off that wall. He gets to third base. That's driving in the second. He scored the third run shortly after that on a base hit. And then in this inning, he knocked him out of the game. 3-2 pitch, single to right center field. It scored 2.
Top of the order, Ben Revere, 2 for 3 on the day. Slash to left, another base hit, extra bags for Ben Revere.
The slasher.
He's on his way to second with another double. He had 2 already in the series coming in. That gives him 3. And Twins at second and third with still only 1 out.
This is I call him the slasher, man. He gets up there and he just short strokes and just tries to put the ball in play. You want to have him try to hit the ball in the air when he can get on top of a fastball up and away and just hit a little line drive. That's right up his alley. So the Twins now with 10 hits on the ball game.
Infield in for the Tribe. Trevor Plouffe 0 for 2. Cuts and misses, no balls, 2 strikes. Tough night for Mitch Talbot. It looked like he was starting to settle into a little bit of a rhythm there coming into this inning. He had retired 5 in a row before the walk to Dinkelman and then just never recovered. Judy 1-2. Pop back out of play. Low and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's a full count. Five runs on 10 hits for Minnesota. They've stranded 5 to this point. No runs, 3 hits for the Indians. They've left 4. Second and third for the Twins. Infield drawn in for the Indians. And a 3-2 pitch to Plouffe. Fouled out of play. And the payoff. Yanked to left. Duncan makes the catch. Tagging. Coming home. Butera. The throw. Not in time. So third run of the inning makes it 6-0 Twins, and all 6 runs charged to Mitch Talbot tonight. Duncan made a good throw here.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to get it there. You know, I know you have a catcher running, but he comes in there and Butera has to slide. But it still goes as a sacrifice fly.
Two down for Michael Kadire, 1 for 3 on the night with a double. And a strike called. Now the 0-1. Bounced in the hole. Cut off by Chisenhall. Slings it over. Inning over. We go to the bottom of the 6th. 6-0 Minnesota. You know, I haven't seen him up here in the press box.
I haven't
so
either. I looked over there. He
Maybe
may be out
him.
following them around out there.
There's Princess Leia. In for a strike to Cabrera, who is 0 for 2 on the night. It must be great, though, for Bart to be able to go to a Halloween party and not have to
Dress up
a costume.
Yeah, I know it. He's very fortunate in that respect.
As Dribble has twice flied to center tonight. And hits a high foul on the left side.
Well, I guarantee you nobody thought they were going to get a foul ball up in that area where he just hit it. That was up above the Terrace Club. And you do not expect to see many foul balls up there.
The 1-2 down in the dirt. Want to send out happy birthday wishes tonight to Alice Speck in Cleveland, celebrating her 79th birthday tonight.
Oh, happy birthday, Alice.
The 2-2. And Cabrera rolls it foul. In the air, right field. Tassoni racing back, makes the catch. One down. Our AT&T trivia question tonight, looking for old guys hitting home runs. 3 of them in Tribe history, 30 or more at 35 years of age or older.
I don't know. The only one that comes to mind, maybe Andy Thornton that I played with. Ellis Burks, okay. Andy Thornton and Luke Easter. How about that? Well, at least I got Andre right.
Yeah.
My teammate.
Carlos Santana jolts one to deep left center, off the fence. And he'll go into second base with a 1-out double. So for Santana, double number 34. And that's the first Indian in scoring position since Cord Phelps back in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, the first extra base hit of the night for the Indians. And this guy just continues. There's that little fastball out over the plate. I don't know if that's a cutter that he tried to throw away, but you give this guy a little swinging room and he can do some damage. You see it go off the auxiliary scoreboard. Cruises into second.
Now Jim Thome, 0 for 2 on the night. Taking in a strike.
They need a quick boost. The fans need something to get into right now. They've been doing the wave. They could use a quick 2-pointer here from Thome. Get them into it. Get into that Twins bullpen.
A ball and a strike to count. Up high, 2 balls and a strike. Low, 3-1. Duncan on deck. Pitch number 80 on the night for Scott Diamond coming up right here. And he missed ball 4.
There you go. Base runners you need.
Let's go back to the Hyundai Studios for another in-game update with Al Pawlowski.
All right, Matt, Tampa trying to run down the Red Sox. They get the lead here against Toronto in the bottom of the 4th inning. Ben Zobrist, that's gone. That's his 21st home run of the season. 3-2 now. Tampa leads the Blue Jays. 6th inning at the Trop. Back to you, Matt.
All right, thanks, Al. And we're in the 6th inning here where Minnesota has a 6-0 lead, but the Tribe has 2 on with 1 out. Trying to make some noise. In this, our final Channel 3 telecast of the season. Fouled right back. Well, this will be our last broadcast of the season here on Channel 3, and on behalf of the entire TV crew, we want to thank you for watching what has been another exciting season of Indians baseball, and we'll look forward to seeing you next spring when the Tribe returns with their sights set on a division championship and much, much more. Now the 0-1. Duncan cuts and misses. No balls, 2 strikes. So one thing that it seems like, at least to me, that Diamond has done a pretty good job of, and that's cutting down on swinging room, where he's either gone in hard to the right-handers off the plate, tied him up.
Cutting it in. And that was a good pitch to Shelley. Now he can go two ways. He can go back in there, he can go change up away and see if he can extend it. He goes back in there. But now this is where you're Shelley Duncan. A lot of times he will not give in, when he gets to 2 strikes. But we have seen him recently when he's been swinging a good bat where he will cut it down. And you need base runners. You got to get on the board here. You're running out of outs. You're down 6-0. It's the bottom of the 6th, but you have a couple runners on and not many opportunities tonight. Scott Diamond has really limited the Indians' offense.
All right, they've talked it over. Now the 0-2 coming to Duncan. Tomey's at first, Santana's at second. And a base hit into left field. Santana coming around third. He'll be waved home. Here's the throw. Cut off. Drives on the board. Shelley Duncan delivers with an RBI single, his 4th ribby of the day.
I'll tell you what, he went up there, and with 2 strikes, he put a good approach on it, and they're on the board. So that's a good sign. This is going to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it because you had an opportunity. You're starting to take advantage of it now. The 3rd time through the lineup, Duncan gets a base hit. Santana comes around to score. It is a 6-1 ball game, but you want to keep that train running. Keep it moving along.
While they talk things over on the mound, we'll pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're watching Cleveland Indians baseball. Alongside Rick Manning, I'm Matt Underwood here at Progressive Field. Indians down 6-1, but they've got 2 on, only 1 out. Lonnie Chisenhall to the plate. He has walked and singled already tonight. Tribe trying to mount a comeback here in the nightcap. Looking to sweep the doubleheader, but they still have a lot of work to do. Chisenhall yanks it foul. Alex Burnett loosening for Minnesota. And it's fouled over toward the Twins dugout. 0-2.
Well, we told you in his major league debut, Scott Diamond went 6 1/3 innings against the Indians and gave up 7 hits. Allowed 4 runs, 3 of them earned. But he did give up a home run in that game. He's been he only struck out 1 in that game. He has 1 strikeout, but he's only given up the 5 hits. And he's trying to stay in there, as you say, limit that swinging room.
Fouled toward the Tribe dugout. Yeah, the way Diamond has pitched tonight is the way we've grown accustomed to seeing Twins pitchers as a whole pitch over the last 10 years. But this year, they haven't pitched that way. They've had a lot of problems, whether it be injury related or just performance related.
Well, they lost 3 valuable parts of that bullpen. You know, when you get into a game like they're in right now, and last year, it was a done deal. It was a lot like what the Indians were this year. You turn that lead over to the bullpen, and it's a done deal. It hasn't been that way this year. starting with the closer because they've had problems because of Joe Nathan coming back from the surgery.
Chisenhall rips it into right field, deep into the corner. That's going to bring home Tomey. Duncan on Tomey's heels will stop at third. An RBI double for Lonnie Chisenhall, and the Indians keep the pressure on Scott Diamond. 2 runs in the inning now. And the Tribe draws a little bit closer at 6-2.
Boy, they're doing exactly what they have to do. That was a good at-bat by Chisenhall. He tried to sneak a piece of cheese by him inside, and he didn't get it inside. He left this one out over the plate, and Lonnie made him pay. Watch, they want to go in with it, and look at how quick that bat is inside. Lined it down into the corner. 1 run will score, but they have second and third. And that'll bring Ron Gardenhire out, and he's going to have to make a change. So Diamond is going to be done after 5 1/3 innings.
The Indians had 3 hits through the first 5 innings of this game. They have 3 here in the 6th inning alone. And they're back in the ball game when we come back. Of it yet. They've got second and third, 1 out, couple of runs already in, and Lou Marson will be the batter facing right-hander Alex Burnett, on for the 66th time this year, and you can see he's had his struggles. 33 strikeouts, 21 walks, 48 hits allowed, and 50 innings of work.
Well, I'll tell you, if you can get 1 and possibly 2 more in this inning, that would be beautiful, because you could cut into that lead and there's still quite a bit of game left.
Foul out of play.
You got to get at least 1. They've been quiet for the first 5, but the bats come alive. The double, the walk, the single, the double.
Out of play. Marson down the count 0-2. Lou hitting just 197 on the year with runners in scoring position.
To me, it looks like when he gets runners in scoring position, he gets dead set on trying to push everything to the right side to stay on the baseball instead of trying to, hit the ball where it is pitched. And he doesn't want to swing and miss. In other words, he's just trying to put the ball in play. Go ahead and swing that bat. If they make mistakes, when guys on base. There's nothing wrong with pulling it. You can pull a ball here and still get an RBI with a ground ball to shortstop. But now he's got a battle down in the count 0-2.
And he lines one to right field, a base hit. That's going to bring home Duncan. Chisenhall was right on his heels, but he had to stop at third. And the Indians make it a 6-3 game. 3 straight hits in the inning. all 3 drive-in runs. Marson down on the count.
Well,
able to punch it to right field to drive in the run.
Down in the count 0-2. Now watch the spinner he throws up there, and he leaves it right in the middle of the plate. Lonnie Chisenhall had a great read and a great jump, and Duncan stayed back, but that's not a good breaking ball 0-2. He had Marson down in the count, and he was fighting everything off. So what he does, that was a breaking ball, and he still speeds up his bat, and you can see that's where he was going, was to right field. But a base hit for the Indians, they cut it and make it a 6-3 game, and they're right back in it.
And Cord Phelps, 1 for 2, looks at a ball outside.
Remember, they had a 6-run 6th inning in game 1 of this doubleheader to put that game out of reach. It was tied at 2.
Outside, 2-0.
The first guy in the inning, Cabrera, flew out to right field. And other than that, everybody has reached base.
Crowd into it for the first time tonight. They haven't had anything really to get excited about. But the offense coming to life here. 5 straight have reached. Left-hander Jose Majares warming. The 2-0 to Phelps. Out of play. Cord was 0 for his last 27 coming in, but he got an infield single in the 3rd. Flied to left in the 5th. Takes a pitch down low, and it's 3-1. Ezekiel Carrera waiting on deck.
Well, I think he's seen this act before.
Yeah, all season long. The 3-1. Slowly chopped to first. They'll get the out. Indians get that run home from 3rd, though, so they get them both in, as you talked about. You needed at least one.
Right.
They got them both in. It's 6-4. Tying run at the plate. As Marson moves down to second base with 2 down, Phelps picks up the RBI, his 6th on the year.
Yeah, he maybe chased a bad pitch there when you're sitting 3-1 and you're sitting in the catbird seat. I mean, that's where you got to come to Papa and get a good pitch that you can drive. I think he might have helped him out a little. He did get the run in from 3rd, which is okay. That's good. You make it a 6-4 game. That other runner, Marson, goes into scoring position. So they've got a 4-run inning, and they're right back into the ball game.
And Ezekiel Carrera, trying to keep the inning alive, looks at a ball up high. He could make it a 1-run game, potentially with a base hit. Especially if he slaps one up the middle. That's been his patented base hit stroke. Rips that into right field. Marson will score. It is a 1-run game. Carrera delivers with the 2-out RBI knock. 5 hits in the inning. And the Indians plate 5 runs. And Ron Gardenhire is going back to his bullpen.
Well, as I said, he's seen this act before, and Carrera comes up, and now that's a big hit. A 2-out base hit, and it brings you just one step closer. Good job right there by Ezekiel. Drives in Marson, and it drives Burnett out of the game. Oh, boy, a nice 5-run inning. They had 11 runs in the 6th inning today at this ballpark. And they're not done.
Exactly. I was just going to say they're not done yet. Jose Majares coming on when we come back. Kosuke Fukudome is the 9th man to bat in the inning, and he'll face lefty Jose Majares, fresh out of the Twins bullpen and delivering low ball 1. You saw the numbers on Majares. No wins, a loss, ERA 4.28. He's walked 30, struck out just 28 in his 48 in the third innings this year, allowing 51 hits. Fouled back. Well, he had a good cut.
Yeah, you get your pitch.
Oh, he
you
was trying
don't want
to do
to
some
foul
damage
that. Well,
with that
you
one.
just maybe a little too much, but fouled it back off the glove of Butera.
Tied him up 1-2. Tying run at first with 2 down, and the 1-2 to Fukudome, almost to the backstop. Speaking of Ezekiel Carrera, who's down at first base, Redbird telling me Zeke now has 9 of his 13 ribbies with 2 outs and runners in scoring position on the year.
I remember him getting some big base hits. I really do.
Put bat on ball and find some holes. That short swing has definitely served him well in the clutch. Draws a throw here. Another toss.
Well, he's waited this long, to try and steal. It's a 2-2 count. You might as well wait till 3-2. They're paying attention, think he's going to take off. Now you want to make sure that you don't want to make it out. You've had a big inning, and anything else can happen here. They've already put 5 on the board here in the 6th.
Oh, boy. Now Drew Butera is going to go out to talk to Majares. The set. And the 2-2 up high, almost threw that to the backstop. Full count. So twice in the at-bat, he is missed by about 2 feet. Now the runner Carrera will just simply take off once he fires it toward home.
Yeah, there's no hurry. He'll get a head start now.
First baseman Parmalee is going to drop behind Carrera. And Fukudome strikes out to end the inning. Indians send 9 men to the plate. They score 5 times, and all of a sudden it's a 1-run game as we go to the 7th.
game of the season, but don't worry, they're going to open the doors to Progressive Field in November for snow days. You can get on out here, skate around the frozen mile, go tubing with your friends. Make sure to bring your friends when you come because you can get a great discount when you have groups of 15 or more. And then make sure you're here Sunday, January 15th. We'll have the first ever outdoor college hockey game. The Buckeyes taking on the Wolverines. You can go online right now to Indians.com, get all the information, and also register for your chance to get pre-sale tickets. Matt, Rick, we'll send it back over to you guys.
Thanks, Katie. On to the 7th inning. Nick Hagedorn coming on for the Tribe. Well, I wonder what happened to Asdrubal Cabrera. He flied to right to start that inning, and now he's out of the game. Jason Donald taking over. Parmalee swing and a miss. A good 94 mile an hour fastball.
Power against power right there.
Slug to deep center. Back is Carrera. On the track, makes the catch. One down. For the ultimate Cleveland Browns highlight show, don't miss Browns Tonight here on Channel 3. Join Dave Chudowski for all the big plays from tomorrow's game against the Dolphins, player interviews, plus a whole lot more. Browns Tonight is Sunday night at 11:30. Only on WKYC Channel 3, your official Cleveland Browns station. Danny Valencia, 1 for 2. Drove in a run on the first with a sac fly.
Well, this was all Minnesota for the first 6 innings, or I should say 5.5 innings.
Fastball strike 1-1.
Then the Indians were able to come back and put a big 5 spot on the board to get right back into this game.
Hit up the middle. Backhanded by Phelps. Spins around, throws, and got him. Kind of an interesting looking spin by Phelps. But it all works out in the end as he retires Valencia for out number 2.
He turned the tough way. He went clockwise. And he couldn't get much on the throw. He still had enough on it to get him. You see, usually he would stop, plant, and go the other way. But he just does get enough to get Valencia.
And with 2 down, Rene Tassoni, 1 for 3 on the night. You know, Ruben Niebla, who was a Columbus pitching coach, was telling me before the ball game that, Nick Hagedorn is one of those guys who, when he first got to Columbus, he said he wanted to impress. He wanted to do everything right. He wanted to do it the first time through, wanted to show everybody he belonged. And he said it just took him a little while to relax and just settle in. And he said that he wants it bad. He said that's a good thing. But at times it works against him because he's very hard on himself. He wants to be perfect every time.
Well, if he wanted it bad down there, how much more is he going to want it up here? So it may take a little while to relax. That's totally understandable.
And especially when you're talking about a bullpen role where you don't have 2 or 3 innings to find it or to settle in or to get into your rhythm. You've got to come out right now.
And you want to throw strikes. And one thing he's doing is probably overthrowing. trying to hit that 94, 95 to get it up there. That's where you want to see that pitch down in the strike zone. He's been upstairs and he's been all over. His problem has been command of the strike zone. And that could be one reason, overthrowing the baseball.
The set now in the 2-2. Deep center. Carrera on the move. Makes the catch. 2 loud outs, but it's a 1-2-3 seventh inning for Nick Hagedorn. Time now for the Cleveland Clinic seventh inning stretch. Indians fans, get up. Let's move it. By Levin Furniture, home of Sealy's Posturepedic mattress, made in Northeast Ohio. And by your Northern Ohio Hyundai dealers. It's time to join the Hyundai movement. Well, it's a one-run game. Tribe down 6-5, bottom of the 7th. We'll start the same way we did in the 6th, except it'll be a different hitter. Jason Donald, who came on for Asdrubal Cabrera. No word on what happened to AC. But he flied out to start the 6th inning for the Tribe and then didn't come out defensively in the top of the 7th. Jason Donald has been swinging a hot bat of late for the Indians. He was 1 for 4 this afternoon. Four-game hitting streak now. 9 for his last 16.
Well, he had an 8-gamer, remember, at the end of August and early September.
Yeah. He's hit in 19 of his last 22. That's pretty sustained. You talked earlier about Tampa Bay having a tough time scoring runs. They haven't been able to add to their lead. 3-2 Tampa over Toronto. They're now in the 8th.
Yeah, they do. They have a tough time scoring.
Unless they're playing Boston, then it seems like they score in bunches against the Red Sox.
Yeah, that's their team. You're right, that they can score against for whatever reason.
1-2. Slider fouled away by Donald. Maharis delivers. And another foul ball. That one rattles into the Twins dugout. Missed inside, 2-2. Boy, for a first at bat of the night, it's a pretty good AB for Jason Donald. Be the 8th pitch coming up right here. He's fouled a bunch off. Up high, full count. Carlos Santana waits on deck. And then Jim Thome here in the home half of the 7th inning. Mahara sets and the payoff pitch.
Nice.
Line to right field, a base hit for Jason Donald, and he just continues to stay locked in at the plate.
What a great at bat.
And here's a guy who probably doesn't want the season to end the way he's swinging.
Well, good for him. He'll come up here, and that was a terrific at-bat. I mean, to end it this way, and it's not a bad pitch. It's up and away. And he just stayed on it after battling, working himself back into the count, and you get that leadoff man aboard after you put 5 on last inning. That's a great job.
You know, he missed a big chunk early in the year with the injury. Big reason why he didn't make the club coming out of spring training. He was ticketed to be the third baseman. He suffered the broken hand, and then he had the knee injury. But finally got himself healthy and right and gets a chance to come up here, and he's made the most of his opportunity.
Yes, he certainly has.
Well, it looked like Butera was a little frustrated, maybe with Maharis. Just the way he's thrown the ball here coming out in this 7th inning. He jolted out there to the mound and talked to him quickly. Maharis has only faced, this is his 3rd batter, and he's thrown 16 pitches. Now the 1-0 to Santana. 2-0. Line drive left field, base hit, Santana. Back-to-back singles to open the bottom of the 7th. It's almost like somebody turned the faucet on, because this Indians offense had 3 hits, 3 singles through the first 5 innings. They've had 7 hits now from the 6th inning up to this point.
Well, look, he missed his location. Another pitch that's elevated. And we said last year, the Twins bullpen were lights out. This year, they're last in the league. Now, they're making some mistakes right now, and the Indians are taking advantage of them.
This year, the lights are on and nobody's home. Jim Thome steps up.
They're 7 for their last 9.
Thome walked in that 6th inning. He's got a chance to do some damage here. Maharis fires, and Thome takes a breaking ball for a strike.
They had a 6-0 lead going into last inning.
Just missed 1-1. Yeah, it was 6-0 Minnesota with 1 out and bases empty in that bottom of the 6th, and the Indians erupted for 5 runs.
It was a 2-2 game until the bottom of the 6th in game 1. They didn't have a hit since the 1st inning until the 6th inning.
Right. Unplated 6 to blow it open.
And that's when we asked Shelley Duncan after the first game, what is it from the 6th inning on in this ballpark? This team really seems to start playing better, and, you know, they get momentum. They get a little roll, and their fans start getting into it. And
they feed off it. There's no question.
I mean, it's been that way this year in this ballpark. I mean, their first 5 innings, they seem dormant. They seem like they didn't want to play.
2
Next
on.
thing you know, the switch is on.
Nobody out. 2-2 pitch to Tomey. Oh, he rings him up. I don't think Tomey agreed. Tim Welke punches him out. That's the first out in the inning, and Ron Gardenhire's going to go make a pitching change. I got to see that one again.
You don't agree with it, huh? Well, do you know who the hitter is? Well, that's wow. That's you know what? Jimmy gets a break more times than not, right there, and he's saying yes, it was right there on the knees.
Well, Maharas caught a break. First out of the inning. He's out of the game. We've got a timeout. Tribe down a run. Two on, one out. Shelly Duncan coming to the plate. Matt Capps, right-hander, coming on for Minnesota.
Well, the table is set. It was Capps that came on last night and faced one guy in the ninth inning, Santana. And we ended up leaving the ballpark in the bottom of the ninth. So Shelly Duncan getting a chance first and second, one out here. Bottom half of the seventh inning.
Matt Capps delivers. Foul back out of play. Folks out in the bleachers are begging for a souvenir right now. Hits even at 10 apiece. 2 on, 1 out. Tribe down a run. Low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tampa Bay has finally opened up. They've got some breathing room now. They lead the Blue Jays 6-2 in the last of the 8th. As they try to cut a game off the Red Sox lead in the wild card race in the AL. 1-1. Back out of play. Boston got hammered by the Yankees earlier today, 9-1 the final in that game. Meanwhile, the race between Texas and Detroit for the second best record in the American League. Texas won earlier. They're both tied at 91 wins on the year.
Detroit was getting beat the last time I saw anything.
It's either 5-5 or 6-5. They're late.
Oh, it's 5-5. It is late in that game.
Yeah, Baltimore and the Tigers tied at 5 in the 9th. Justin Verlander pitched 7 innings in that game tonight for the Tigers. A ball and 2 strikes to count on Shelley Duncan with 1 out. Matt Capps comes set. Outside, 2-2. Lonnie Chisenhall waiting on deck. Duncan drove in 3 this afternoon. He's already driven in 1 here tonight. Low and outside, full count.
Sitting down and away, you can see it is off the plate.
And now the payoff pitch. And he just spoiled it. A little emergency swing. Fouling it in the end of the Twins
anything
dugout.
to stay alive. It doesn't matter. I mean, that's the good thing. You don't go up there and try and hit it out of the ballpark. He realizes that, hey, he may hit it away. Go ahead, foul it off. Spoil that pitch. A lot of hitters don't do that. Do anything you can to stay alive and hopes you get a better pitch. Live for one more pitch.
Fastball hit down the left field line. Fair ball into the corner. Cabrera will tie the game. Coming home, Santana with the go-ahead run. He scores.
That's what I'm talking about.
Shelley Duncan does it again. He drove in 3 runs this afternoon. He drives in 3 more here tonight. And this time, he gives the Indians the lead with a 2-run double. Down in the count, battled his tail off, and then line one into the left field corner. Jason Donald and Carlos Santana both come home on the play.
Well, he lived for one more pitch, and that pitch was a bonus. He was able to keep that ball fair. He got something off Matt Capps, drove it down the line, drives in 2, and the Indians have come back from 6-0 to take a 7-6 lead in a matter of 2 innings.
Now Lonnie Chisenhall is going to be intentionally walked. He had an RBI double his last time up. Seven, 6 Indians. And Chisenhall takes his base. Lou Marson will be the batter. With 2 on and only 1 out. And right now, Ron Gardenhire's got to be wondering what he did to the baseball gods. They had a 6-0 lead going into the bottom of the 6th inning. And the Indians have roared back with 7 unanswered. Lou Marson had a key RBI single in that 6th inning. Also came around to score. Ball 1 outside.
How about that guy that came up to visit us in between innings?
Oh.
That stopped in and said, what was he, 12-2 since coming to an Indians game? Wore the jersey. He had what? Was
7
it
walk-off
7
wins.
walk-offs or 8?
7 walk-off wins. I think 2 of them or 4 of them by homer. He's had a heck of a run, and at that point they were down 6-0.
I says, well, you better hope that they can do it again, and I'll be darned if they haven't. At least they were able to come back and take the lead.
Now the 1-1. Liner, short, caught, double play. That ends the inning. But Shelly Duncan delivering to put the Tribe on top for the first time tonight. 7-6.
Indians.
Shelly Duncan gets a little chest bump from Lonnie Chisenhall there after Duncan drove in
the big man.
the go-ahead run. All right, we go to the 8th. Tony Sipp coming on for the Tribe. He'll face the bottom third of the Twins order. Sipp for the 68th time this year. 6 up, 2 down, 2.83 ERA. Brian Dinkelman, Matt Tolbert, Drew Butera are due for Minnesota. Dinkelman doubled and scored in the 2nd, walked and scored in the 6th. Baltimore went ahead of Detroit 6-5 in the 9th inning in the Motor City. Here's a pop, foul ground. Santana makes the grab, 1 away. On this date in 2006, our Miller Taste Greatness moment. Grady Sizemore down in Texas. Remember this? The big guy, El Caballo.
Oh, yes, I do.
Carlos Lee kind of dove for it and then took his good old time going after the ball, and Sizemore circled the bases for an inside-the-park home run.
Can't do that, El Caballo. Not with Grady running.
Matt Tolbert. Looked like he was trying to swat at a butterfly.
No,
Takes
you
a
know
strike.
what? He wanted to bunt the fastball, but he took the changeup. That would have been an easier pitch to bunt, but I think he was fooled by the pitch. It was a double clutch.
Fastball down low. Strike called. Might have been low. Tolbert doesn't like it. And he's down on the count now, 1-2. Swung on and missed. Tolbert strikes out. 2 down.
Good change. Started them off with a change, puts them away with the changeup. Down and away, 83. Good location by Tony. It's a good pitch.
Drew Butera, 2 for 3. Single, triple, 3 ribbies, 2 runs scored. Oh, we get a pinch hitter. Luke Hughes coming up. How do you pinch hit for the hottest hitter on your team tonight?
Well, maybe Butera, he knows that he doesn't like left-handers. That's the only thing I could think of. Because
well, I mean, let's face it, Drew was hitting a $155 coming in. He was having
a
marvelous night, but Ron Gardenhire knows his club
a lot better than we do.
Yeah. Now Sip, 1-1 pitch. Fouled right back. Here's Sip's 1-2 pitch. Up high with the heat, 2-2. Well, he had him down. He's missed twice, full count. One-run Indians lead now, 7-6 here in the 8th. And the payoff pitch. Back out of play. And he wants to see Tony put him away and end this inning quickly. He blew him away with a fastball. Strikes out a pair. 1, 2, 3 go the Twins. We go to the last of the 8th. Indians up 7-6. Like Panini's franchise group on Facebook for your chance to win giveaways and prizes. Kyle Waldrop coming on now for Minnesota. Rene Rivera takes over for Drew Butera. And Luke Hughes is now at second base. And a ground ball towards second. And Hughes throws out Cord Phelps. Our in-game box score brought to you by your Northern Ohio Hyundai dealers. Introducing the Hyundai Assurance Trade-In Value Guarantee. The Indians were dormant through the first 5, but they blew it up in the 6th and 7th. Shelley Duncan, Chisenhall, everybody pretty much had a hand in it. Two hits for Carrera and RBI. And he threw it by him. Kyle Waldrop, 2 quick outs. Hey, the Gathering Place, our charity that we showed you earlier today, we had the check presentation, but we're still raising money. Over $9 grand now. Every time the Indians homer this year. For more information, visit touchedbycancer.org. Great needs, great deeds, great clips. 2 down for Kosuke Fukudome. 0 for 4 here in the nightcap. 2 for 12 now in the series. He was supposed to have half of the day off, but Trevor Crowe hurt himself early in
first
game 1.
inning.
First inning, diving for a line drive. And so that forced Fukudome to have to go into right field, and Carrera went from right over to center to play the rest of the game. And the word on Trevor Crowe, after the injury to his left shoulder, not the one he had surgery on, but the other shoulder, and he won't play the rest in the remaining 4 or 5 games this year. Down in the dirt. This is what happened to Trevor Crowe earlier today, in case you missed it. Just kind of landed awkwardly with his arm completely extended, and he got up immediately, and
that was
you could tell something was
second
wrong.
hit of the game.
2-2. A little bit low, 3-2. Chris Perez ready in the Tribe bullpen. Payoff pitch, way outside. Fukudome walks to keep the inning alive. Time now for a station identification. You're watching Cleveland Indians baseball. There's CP. He's ready.
Yeah, he's loose. He's done throwing.
Jason Donald, second at bat. He came on for Asdrubal Cabrera. No word on Cabrera leaving the game.
He set the table in his first at bat in the 7th inning, coming up to lead that inning off after they had put 5 on in the 6th inning. He leads off the 7th with, what was it, a 9 or a 10 pitch at bat to get a base hit to right field and start that inning and end up coming around to score.
Swing and a miss, and the runner Fukudome will go to second.
Curveball going into the dirt, and it goes ricochets off Rivera. That allows Fukudome to get himself in scoring position now with 2 outs. McDonald down in the count 0-2.
Down in the dirt. And he strikes him out to end the inning. We'll go to the ninth. CP will try to nail it down as the Indians try to sweep this doubleheader from Minnesota when we come back. Ninth inning. Chris Perez will try to close it out. Looking for his 36th save on the year. He'll have to go through the top of the order. Ben Revere, Trevor Plouffe, Michael Kadai are all due here. Revere has 3 hits tonight and 6 hits in the series. One and one to count.
Always important to get that leadoff man aboard. I mean, to keep him from getting on board, if you're Chris Perez, 1 for 3 in his career, and he did it.
Phelps throws him out, 1 away. Coming up after the ball game, the Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care post-game show can be seen on Sports Time Ohio. Conrad's, home of the lowest everyday tire price guarantee. The batter is Trevor Plouffe. And a fastball strike. By the way, I'm being told now, Asdrubal Cabrera left the game tonight. The reason, residual soreness from when he basically got hit by the pitch on the elbow. So that's obviously still bothering him. Remember, he tried to turn out of the way and got hit right on the
Yes, I do.
elbow last night. Swag out and missed. He struck him out. 2 down here in the ninth.
Well, he gets him to chase the slider. You get ahead of him, throw that slider out of the zone. He swings at it. Out number 2.
There's a line drive, base hit into center field.
Well, there's a veteran that's not going to spot Chris Perez, the fastball on first pitch. He's going to get after it. He tried to get ahead of him and throw a strike, and Kadire comes up and hits it. Just gets it over Jason Donald at shortstop for the base hit. So they have the tying run aboard. They're going to pinch run now for Kadire. Who's that, Benson?
Joe Benson will run at first for Kadire. That is the tying run. Chris Parmalee, 0 for 3 with a walk, will be the batter. In the air, center field. This should do it. Carrera is there. He makes the catch, and the Indians have swept a day-night doubleheader from the Minnesota Twins. It's the second time this year they've taken a twin bill from Minnesota. And they do it tonight in impressive fashion. They were down 6-0 going into the bottom of the 6th. They scored 5 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, and they hang on to win it by a final score of 7-6. With the win, the Indians now 80-78, 1 win away from clinching at worst a 500 season. Minnesota has lost 19 of their last 21. They are now 60-98 on the year. Winning pitcher Nick Hagedorn, his first big league victory. Congratulations to him. And the loser is Jose Maharis. Matt Capps takes the loss tonight for Minnesota. Time now for the play of the game, brought to you by KeyBank. Thanks for making KeyBank the #1 bank in Northeast Ohio.
Well, let's go back to that 7th inning after they put 5 on the board. A terrific at-bat. And just remember the pitch before that double right there, what Shelley Duncan did, it was like an emergency swing to stay alive. He lived for one more pitch, got a pitch to his liking, hit a double down there, drove in 2 runs. And that, was a very big hit. The Indians come back from a 6-0 lead. That is going to be our KeyBank key play of the game.
By the way, Maharis was the loser tonight for Minnesota. He's 0-2 on the year out of that Minnesota bullpen. So a thrilling win for the Tribe in our final Channel 3 telecast of the year. 7-6 is your final score. For those of you watching here on Channel 3, stay tuned. Law & Order SVU Joined in Progress is straight ahead. The Conrad's postgame show is next on Sports Time Ohio.